Reality has no high or low. If you see high or low, then it isn't real. A raft isn't real, but a passenger raft is. A person who rides such a raft can cross that which isn't real. That's why it's real. According to the world, there's male and female, rich and poor. According to the way, there's no male or female, no rich or poor. When the goddess realized the way, she didn't change her sex. When the stable boy realized the truth, he didn't change his status. Free of sex and status, they share the same basic appearance. The goddess searched 12 years for her womanhood without success. And to search 12 years for one's manhood would likewise be fruitless. The 12 years refers to the 12 entrances. Without mind, there's no Buddha. Without the Buddha, there is no mind. Likewise, without water, there is no ice. And without ice, there is no water. Whoever talks about leaving the mind doesn't get very far. Don't become attached to appearances of the mind. The sutras say, when you see no appearance, you see the Buddha. This is what's meant by being free from appearances of the mind. Without the mind, there is no Buddha. Means that the Buddha comes from the mind. The mind gives birth to the Buddha, but all the Buddha comes from the mind. The mind does not come from the Buddha. Just as a fish comes from water, water does not come from the fish. Whoever wants to see a fish sees the water before they see the fish. And whoever wants to see the Buddha sees the mind before they see the Buddha. Once you've seen the fish, you forget about the water. And once you've seen the Buddha, you forget about the mind. If you don't forget about mind, the mind will confuse you, just as the water will confuse you if you don't forget about. Mortality and Buddhahood are like water and ice. To be afflicted by the three poisons is mortality. To be purified by the three releases is Buddhahood. That which freezes into ice in the winter melts into water in the summer. Eliminate ice, and there's no more water. Get rid of mortality, and there's no more Buddhahood. Clearly, the nature of ice is the nature of water, and the nature of water is the nature of ice. And the nature of mortality is the nature of Buddhahood. And the nature of mortality is the nature of Buddhahood. Mortality and Buddhahood share the same nature. It is only because the delusion of differences that we have the words mortality and Buddhahood. When a snake becomes a dragon, it doesn't change its scales. And when a mortal becomes a sage, they don't change their face. They know their mind through internal wisdom and take care of their body through external discipline. Mortals liberate Buddhas, and Buddhas liberate mortals. This is what is meant by impartiality. Mortals liberate Buddhas because affliction creates awareness, and Buddhas liberate mortals because awareness negates affliction. They can't help but be affliction, and they can't help but be awareness. If it weren't for affliction, there would be nothing to create awareness. And if it weren't for awareness, there would be nothing to negate affliction. When you're deluded, Buddhas liberate mortals. When you're aware, mortals liberate Buddhas. Buddhas don't become Buddhas on their own. They are liberated by mortals. Buddhas regard illusion as their father, greed as their mother. Delusion and greed are different names for mortality. Delusion and mortality are like the left hand and the right hand. There's no difference. When you're deluded, you're on this shore. When you are aware, you are on the other shore. But once you know your mind is empty and you see no appearances, then you're beyond delusion and awareness. And once you are beyond delusion and awareness, the other shore does not exist. A Buddha isn't on this shore or the other shore and isn't midstream. Arahants are in midstream. Mortals are on this shore, and on the other shore is Buddhahood. Buddhas have three bodies: a transformation body, a reward body, and a real body. The transformation body is also called the incarnation body. The transformation body appears when mortals do good deeds. The reward body when they cultivate wisdom, and the real body when they become aware of the sublime. The transformation body is the one you can see flying in all directions, rescuing others wherever it can. The reward body puts an end to doubts. The great enlightenment occurred in the Himalayas suddenly because the real body doesn't do or say anything. It remains perfectly still. But actually, there's not even one with a body, much less three. This talk of three bodies is simply based on human understanding, which can be shallow, moderate, or deep. People of shallow understanding imagine they're piling up blessings and mistake the transformation body for the Buddha. People of moderate understanding imagine they're putting an end to suffering and mistake the reward body for the Buddha. And people of deep understanding imagine they are experiencing Buddhahood, mistake the real body for the Buddha. But people of the deepest understanding look within and distracted by nothing. Such a clear mind is the Buddha they attain. It is the understanding of a Buddha without using the mind. The three bodies, like other things, are unattainable and indescribable. The unpeated mind reaches the way. The sutras say, Buddhas don't preach the Dharma. They don't liberate mortals, and they don't experience Buddhahood. This is what is meant. Individuals create karma. Karma does not create individuals. They create karma in this life and receive their reward in the next. They never escape. Only someone who is perfect creates no karma in this life and receives no reward. The sutras say, who creates no karma obtains the Dharma. This isn't an empty saying. You can create karma, but you cannot create a person. When you create karma, you will be reborn along with your karma. When you don't create karma, you vanish along with your karma. Hence, with karma dependent on the individual and the individual dependent on karma, if an individual doesn't create karma, then karma has no hold on them. In the same manner, a person can enlarge the way, but the way can't enlarge a person. Mortals keep creating karma and mistakenly insist that there's no retribution. But can they deny suffering? Can they deny that what the present state of mind sows, the next state of mind reaps? How can they escape? But if the present state of mind shows nothing, the next state of mind reaps nothing. Don't misconceive karma. The sutras say, despite believing in Buddhas, people who imagine that Buddhas practice austerities aren't Buddhas. The same holds true for those who imagine that Buddhas are subject to rewards of wealth or poverty. They are deluded and they are incapable of belief. Someone who understands this the teachings of sages is a sage. Someone who understands the teachings of mortals is a mortal. Mortals who can give up the teachings of mortals and follow the teachings of sages become sages. But the fools of this world prefer to look for a sage far away. They don't believe that the wisdom of their own mind is a sage. The sutras say, among people of no understanding, don't preach the sutras or the way. And the sutras say, mind is the teaching. The people of no understanding don't believe their own mind, or that by understanding this teaching, they can become a sage. They prefer to look for distant knowledge and long for things in space, Buddha images, light, incense, and colors. They fall prey to falsehood and lose their minds to insanity. The sutras say, you see that all appearances are not appearances. You see that the myriad doors to the truth all come from the mind. When appearances of the mind are as transparent as space, they are gone. When mortals are alive, they worry about death. When they're full, they worry about hunger. Theirs is the great uncertainty. But sages don't consider the past, and they don't worry about the future, nor do they cling to the present. And from moment to moment, they follow the way. If you haven't awakened to this great truth, you better look for a teacher on earth or in heaven. Don't compound your own deficiency. The end of the Wake Up Sermon by the first Zen patriarch, Bodhidharma.